New video tonight released by Aurora Police shows the shooting death of a 37-year-old man after a traffic stop.
Yeah, Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us now in studio. And Veronica, this video is showing several different perspectives.
Yeah, we're talking about 6 different videos here that were released by the Aurora Police Department, 6 different viewpoints as well of that shooting. In the videos, an officer shoots and kills 37-year-old Rajon Belt Stubblefield during a traffic stop that escalated to a confrontation, ending in that deadly gunfire. For the first time, we're also seeing pictures of the gun police say Belt Stubblefield tossed. Now, even though we're stopping the video before the fatal shot, we do want to warn you tonight, it is hard to watch.
Don't move!
New videos released by the Aurora Police Department Friday giving a glimpse and different viewpoints of Rajon Belt Stubblefield's final moments.
He was a husband. He was a father.
Surveillance video from 6th and Stable capturing it all. Belt Stubblefield walking toward the unidentified Aurora police officer after a traffic stop. The officer reaching for his baton for a moment, ultimately holding on to his gun. And then this, the officer hitting Belt Stubblefield before continuing to walk back, then shooting him several times. Normally, we would stop video before a shot is fired, but Denver 7 is choosing to show this portion because it's the part that's controversial. Attorneys say Belt Stubblefield stopped moving forward. Police see it differently.
Every event is a lesson learned. Every event you realize, okay, what could we do better?
Through tears Friday, Stubblefield's wife speaking for the first time.
He was my best friend. I got 1 year to be married to my best friend before he was taken away from me. And the last thing I thought it was going to happen again.
His son, who was with Belt Stubblefield when he was killed, pleading for justice.
He shouldn't have to lose his life. Shouldn't have to.
At least 72 hours before this, APD showed Belt Stubblefield's family these videos. Attorneys from across the country, including here in Colorado, calling for action. Among them, Ben Crump, one of the leading attorneys for the family of George Floyd.
When you watch that video, you're going to see one of the most horrific, traumatic, brutal, unnecessary, unjustifiable, and unconstitutional excessive use of forces that we've seen in America. I mean, you just look at the video and the aggression of the police officer. Get on the ground!
4 pictures of the gun APD say Belt Stubblefield tossed also released Friday. During a press conference on September 2nd, APD Chief Todd Chamberlain referencing the gun standing by his officer.
As the suspect moved toward the officer and looking back at the weapon, the officer struck the suspect in an attempt to de-escalate the situation and to prevent him from focusing on the weapon and reaching that weapon.
These attorneys see it otherwise and now plead for justice.
It's always going to be a big deal with us. We're going to raise the justice baton for our brother Rajon.
And the Aurora Police Department still has not released the name of the officer who shot and killed Belt Stubblefield. The attorneys we heard.
What up, my 1751 family? I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, man. For those of you who have already smashed and subscribed, I'd like to take my hat off to y'all, man. You know, y'all support is very much appreciated. For those of you who have yet to hit that subscribe, man, go on over, smash and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell notification while you at it. Now, getting into it, right? Today we're going to be reviewing a case by, a young guy. You know, he's perfectly young, 37-year-old. He go by the name of Rajon Belt. Now, I'm going to need some of you to help me out in the comments to figure out what state this is. I know it said Aurora Police, but I'm not sure what state or county that, this unfortunate incident, occurred. But this was a very interesting encounter, man, because I see these type of videos, a lot. But one thing I notice every time I see these type of videos is how the police handle and deal with a situation when it's a black man versus a white man, right? And I hate to always make it about race, but race is like, you know, I didn't create this issue. This is an issue that I, myself, and people like me have to live with day in and day out, right? Being pulled over by the police or calling the police for help and end up in a body bag, you know, shit like that. It's happened time and time again, man. You know, but here, young guy, go by the name Rajon Belt, 37 years old, man. You know, which it appeared to me that he's gotten into a car accident. I don't see another car, but I see his vehicle smashed up in the front, and I see a lot of oil on the ground. So it looked like he's smashed into something. Police was called, and upon their arrival, the police already pulled in very hostile. You know, he jumps out of his vehicle. He got his gun drawn. You know, he orders Rajon, you know, he orders Mr. Belt out of the vehicle. And as he exited the vehicle, things just went left from there. Now, I'm not saying that everything that Mr. Belt did was perfect, you know, or I'm not saying that he acted in a desirable manner, in a respectful manner, right? Because both sides, Mr. Belt and the officer, could have done better. They could have done better, right? And it might not have ended up in tragedy, you know, and this young man having his life taken. But as you can see, during this encounter, Mr. Belt, yeah, he was using some foul language, you know, and he also appeared to have a firearm. But having a firearm does not make you a criminal. And this is a problem that we've always had in America, man. You know, black man with a gun, automatically he's a criminal. Like there isn't a large percentage of black male and black female that are licensed firearm owners, you know, licensed carriers, right? There are many of us, right? But just the stereotype that has been thrown on us, man, for decades, man, is that you know, if a black person have a gun, you can rest assured that person he's a danger to the community. He's a danger to anyone around him, and he likely, you know, don't have a license. That gun, you know, doesn't legally belong to him, right? This is the stereotypes that us black men have had to live with. You know, I know, you know, I've experienced being pulled over by the police. You know, me being in a vehicle with a friend of mine who was licensed to carry, and as soon as he let that officer know that he was, you know, he had a firearm, the officer drawed his weapon. He didn't ask was he licensed. My friend tried to tell him that he was licensed, you know, but the officer didn't want to hear it. You know, black man with a gun, a danger. I fear for my life, you know, and that encounter, you know, eventually came to a respectful, you know, encounter. But the way it started out, if my homie would have took anything that this officer was doing the wrong way, we probably would have been dead, man. We probably would have been shot on the side of that road, man. You know, but this is just the problems, man, that you know, racism has created. Right now, Rajon Belt, he had a firearm. As we can see in this video, he's had a firearm, and he eventually threw the firearm, you know, and walked towards the police officer unarmed. It was clear that he was unarmed. That officer knew that Mr. Belt was unarmed at the time when he walked towards that officer. But one thing that I did catch in that video is that Mr. Belt wasn't the physical one. He wasn't the physical one at all. Yeah, he was moving towards the officer, but the officer kept snuffing him, you know, punching him in his mouth, you know, stumbling him, right? At one point, the officer tried to attack him, and, you know, it seems to me that he swung the officer around, and the officer took a spill onto the ground, right? And that there probably, you know, just destroyed and wrecked that officer's ego, man. He couldn't live with that. You know, I got a black man. I'm out here on my own, you know, which is, you know, 9 times out of 10 is obvious, you know, that white males and, you know, they already look at black males as animals, like we have a strength that needs to be studied. we automatically, just naturally have a strength that hasn't been studied, that needs, you know, questions answered. Why are black men so strong, right? But every time I see an encounter where there are white cops, whether it's 3, 4, 5 of them on one black man, he's dragging about 4 of them. And it takes the 5th one to try to tackle him and get him to the ground. You know, it's almost like, you know, one white officer trying to detain one black male, it's like, it's almost unheard of. Let me put it that way. It's almost unheard of, right? And Rajon Belt was one of those situations where you had one officer where he could have called for backup. He could have went back into his vehicle, called for backup, but no, that's not what he had in mind, man. You know, he was a puny little sissy little white boy that felt the need to show this brother that he was in charge, right? And as a result, this is what we have here, man. This young brother, you know, unfortunately gunned down tragically, man. Untimely death, man. This brother was only 37 years old. You know, 37 years old, man. You know, and like I say, man, this situation is very relatable, man, to all of us, man. You can ask almost any black male. You can ask almost any black male, man, that whether you call the police for help, whether you get into a car accident, you know, we always have, you know, linger in the back of our mind that I hope when this officer pull up, man, he's a respectful guy, man, that you know, that I could talk to and explain myself, you know, what's going on. I hope he's not one of those arrogant officers who just want to throw his power around and, you know, try to prove a point for whatever reason.
Why I pulled you over?
'Cause I was speeding?
No, 'cause you're black. We're supposed to pull people over if they're black. I'm supposed to hit you with this now, okay?
What? No way!
Yes, Ray. Please get on the ground so I can beat you.
No!
Come on, I'm just trying to do my job.
But these are these are how these situations, they're not a one-off. You know, they happen all the time, man. They happen every day. You know, it's just many of them don't get picked up by people like Ben Crump. You know, lawyers that fight for civil rights, right? Lawyers that take a lot of these cases, you know, because they understand that if they allow all of these occurrences to just pass us by and get swept under the rug, man, we will never improve. We will never improve, man. You know, we've been living under the thumb of racist white officers for decades. Really for about a century, okay? When slavery ended, everybody know that slavery never really ended. Slavery was just repackaged, you know, where now they can lock black men up, take them away from the family, send them up in the mountains, have them do free labor, you know, that that would probably cost them $50, $60, $70 an hour, had they had to hire a person legally on the street to do the same job that these prisoners, these black slaves, right, new age slaves, who are making about maybe 13 to 15 cents an hour. Just think about that. You know, I'm not sure what the rate is now, but I know it's very ridiculous. What those prisoners get paid to do some of the, you know, some of the very complicated labor. The type of job that these prisoners get paid 13, 14, 15 cents. Like I said, that's why it's called slavery, repackaged slavery, because those same jobs will cost $50, $60, $70 an hour out here in the world. So just think about that, man. You know, the statistics, man, the statistics will always, black men will always statistically outnumber any other race when it comes to arrest and incarceration, you know, and wrongfully convicted, right? We own that. We own that, right? But a lot of us, we don't get to make it into those mountains. A lot of us, you know, we get judged on the side of the road, man, by a dirty, filthy, neo-Nazi member dressed in a police uniform, right? A lot of us don't get to make it into the cuffs, into processing, and you know, y'all know where I'm going at. You know, a lot of us don't make it, man. Unfortunately, some of us get gunned down the side of the road, man. You know, because of a soft, weak individual that might have been bullied in his earlier, you know, his earlier years of his life, who might have been bullied and happened to feel like he need to get some get back. And that's what you get when that's what you get with a lot of these officers, man. You know, they have an interesting background, which is the reason why they act out in certain ways when they encounter black people. But Mr. Rajon Belt, man, he didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve to be gunned down the way that he was, man. You know, and I know a lot of people feel like the man had a gun. The man was yelling to his son to grab the gun. But although he was yelling to his son to grab the gun off the ground, that officer knew that this man was unarmed. Even though he was walking towards that officer knew that the man was unarmed because the man was clearly yelling to his son to grab the gun off the ground.
Get that shit.
I'll shoot you.
Get that shit. Get that shit.
Dad, chill. No.
Get that shit.
No, Dad, chill.
Get that shit.
Officer, chill. Dad.
Get that shit.
Get on the ground.
Get that shit.
Get on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Dad, chill.
So, you ready for this? You ready for this?
Get on the ground.
Ready?
Now, had that man had the gun in his hand and walking towards the officer had every right to blow that man away. But for the fact that that man was yelling to his son to get the gun off the ground, that proves that the man was unarmed, right? This was a case of a weak, soft white boy who was embarrassed and in disbelief that he was just thrown to the ground. That he was just thrown to the ground by a black man. And a lot of times when they get manhandled, man, they're not going for the taser. You know, they're not going for the billy club. They're not going for the mace. The first thing they reach for is that pistol. The first thing they reach for is that pistol, time and time again. That officer could have easily grabbed mace. Easily could have grabbed some mace. You know, sprayed the brother with some mace. He could have easily reached for that taser and gave that brother all the electricity he wanted to, you know, to get him to comply. But no, nah, that ain't what he had in mind, man. You know, that black man knocked him to the ground, man, and he couldn't live with that. He was going to redeem himself, one way or another, by any means necessary. And that's exactly what he did, man. You know, and as a result, our brother Rajon Belt was unfortunately unalived. You know, and these problems, man, they will continue to go on, man, until we really until we come up with a real solution to this issue, to this problem. You know, especially when we got a guy in the office that's dictating the country. You know, y'all know what I'm talking about, the orange man. We have a person like that, man, that is in power. That is in power, man, and he's egotistic. You know, he's egotistical, man, and he's, you know, narcissistic. You know, as long as we got a guy like that in office, man, that is, you know, sending messages to the police all over the United States from a podium in the Pentagon, that the police can do whatever the hell they want.
But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want.
Now, what do you think he meant? What do you think he meant when he said the police have a right to do whatever the hell they want? Because he's tired of the police fearing, you know, losing their job over an encounter with black males. They're sick of us. That's basically what he said. They're sick of us. You know, they're going to deploy martial law into, you know, multiple different states where they say crime is high. And that's also interesting because crime is at an all-time low. You know, and this is the time that he chose to deploy martial law into these states. You know, but this is what we have, man. And until we come up with a solution, man, this will remain, this will continue to happen. But anyway, man, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, man, you know, to yet another 1751 review. And until next time, hey, if you enjoy watching videos like these, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Help your boy get into the algorithm so that I can continue to bring you more videos just like the one you just watched. Anyway, until next time, y'all stay up.
You ready for this? You ready for this, huh? You ready for this, huh?
Get on the ground.
You ready for this?
Shots fired. 245 shots fired. Give me some cars. Cruiser. Amulet's hot.